Welcome, guys, to Far Cry 4. Yes, Far Cry 4. This is the new series, the new game in the Far Cry series. Hopefully, I'll be doing a few Let's Plays in this game because I actually really enjoy it. So I'm not going to talk about the game. This one. Oh, that is cool. Damn. Alright, I want to skip this. Anyway, I can't skip it. So, what I want to talk about today, it's been a while, so I don't care, but I'm going to say this anyway. I'm going to be talking about this last season of the Arrow, the season finale episode, the crossover episode, and what I think is going to be in the future for the Arrow. So yeah, I'm just letting you guys know now. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be spoiling a lot of stuff, so if you haven't watched the last season of the Arrow or the last episode of Arrow, if you're not up to date, basically I'm going to be talking about the Arrow up to what's the season 3 episode 10, the basically I'm going to be talking up to the mid-season episode of season 3, which I'm pretty sure is season 3 episode 10. Not sure exactly when this video is going to come out, so the new season might have already started, but what I'm talking about is I might put this out before the new season starts, because I think it starts at the end of Jan. So I might put this out quicker than that. Anyway, it's either episode 10 or episode 9. I can't remember. But yeah, so basically if you haven't seen up to see the mid-season finale, then make sure you watch it before watching this. So basically the point that it's at now in the show is, I kind of like the direction they're going. The flashbacks are looking good because what they're actually showing, I should probably descend here so I can sneak up. Kind of be my escape helicopter. Cool. So basically the flashbacks are showing how Ollie is like how he is, what he's had to go through, all the stuff that he's learnt, and basically how he learnt it. It was a lot of the time people thought, he just learnt it on the island, and then there was a period of time where it was possible that the League of Assassins may have taught him, but then they kind of ruled that out. This season started off with I think it was episode 1 or 2. Basically started off with a big shock with Canary dying. Which, for most people, it kind of makes sense because Canary is not Sarah Lance, it is Laurel Lance. So we kind of saw it coming in terms of we kind of knew that she wasn't going to be the final Canary, because she can't be, because it's not the character's name. But then again, they have changed a lot of stuff compared to the comic books. Like, for example, Deagle is not in the comic books at all. If you've read the comic books, you already know all this stuff. If you haven't read the comic books and you're just a show watcher, by that I mean you've only watched the show, you haven't read the comic books, then just to let you know, Deagle is not in the comic books at all. He's a brand new character, which is good because he's one of those characters where you have absolutely no idea what they're going to do with him. His whole character is completely up in the air. Don't know if he's going to live or die or any of that sort of stuff, because he's not in the comic book. So it's not like, oh, okay, he's like, Batman's parents, for example, where we know Batman's parents have to die because that's how he becomes Batman. So there's stuff like that where that you kind of know that that's what they have to. And like, for example, the main character dying, you can be like, oh, the main character can't die because, he's the main character, blah, blah, blah. Which, if you've watched this season, you already know that he does die. But I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so what we're focusing on is that's the kickoff of the season. Sarah Lance is dead, killed by arrows. We don't know who at this point. It was hidden. No, don't die. It was hidden from how she died. We have absolutely no idea how she died at this point. So that's basically where it starts. How the season starts off is kind of a detective kind of thing. Each episode is kind of like, oh, maybe this person could have killed her, or maybe not. We don't know. Either one could be this person, could be that person. There's a few things that were thrown around in terms of who may have been the killer. It was, kind of thought at one point it might have been Roy, as part of his kind of Mirakuru kind of flashback type stuff. It's kind of like, oh, maybe it was him. It could have been him because, he didn't know. He's having dreams about it. But really, he was only having, he was kind of having like a flashback to him killing a cop with an arrow, which kind of had a similar sort of effect in terms of he was upset and depressed about it and wanted to make things right and that sort of stuff, which was a good episode. Why can't I climb this? I'll climb this ladder. There we go. So which was a good episode, but there's a few other things being thrown around. But it ended with bloody eagles. Bloody eagles. But basically okay, I should just keep climbing. And basically where it ended was we didn't know who it was, and it was going around, and then it was kind of left for a little while. What am I doing? I don't want to go down. It was kind of left at that for a little while, as we didn't really know. But then it got a little bit more desperate. Before that, I think we had the crossover episode, before I got to this point. The crossover episode with the Flash, which was fantastic. It was Molotov. That's not good. It was the one in Arrow was the first. Pull off the night. It was the first episode. It was the second part of the crossover episode. The first part of the crossover episode, they were kind of connected, but not in a way where if you only watched Arrow, you wouldn't understand what's going on. It is to a point where, oh wait, who's this guy with super speed? I don't know who he is, type of thing. There is that in it if you don't watch the Flash. But the story kind of doesn't continue over. If you hadn't watched the Flash crossover episode by the time the Arrow one came out, it wasn't like you had no idea what was going on, because their own standalone episodes. The only mention they have of the crossover episode is the fact that the Flash comes and goes, "Oh, I helped you out last week. Maybe we should do that again," type thing. But yeah, the crossover episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. A few people didn't like it too much because, how do they kind of match super speed with a guy with a bow and arrow? But they do that all the time in the comic book, so that part I wasn't really overly worried about, because it happens all the time in the comic books where Batman teams up with Superman, but yet Batman still, looks cool. Like, he's still Batman, So I wasn't overly worried about that, because they've been kind of keeping a lot along with the comic books as well as their own sort of stuff. So yeah, that was something I wasn't overly worried about. And they did it really well, I found, in the episode. The Flash helped out the Arrow, but we also saw that the Arrow is a very darker character than the Flash, which kind of made it a bit harder for the Flash, because he didn't like what Ollie was doing in terms of the torturing and that sort of stuff, but he still helped out and try to help Ollie to see sort of the lighter side of things, which kind of worked to a point. But Ollie being Ollie, he was still dark and mysterious and all that sort of thing, just because of his experience on the island and what all that sort of thing did to him. So yeah, with that being said, and the crossover episode being over and that sort of stuff, it kind of gave the impression that, okay, where they're leaning towards next could possibly be metahumans, bringing more metahumans into Arrow, which is good, because Green Arrow does fight some metahumans or supervillains that actually have powers. They're not just people with bows and arrows. Even though his main enemy villain that he fights doesn't have superpowers, it does make sense that, considering that the Flash and Arrow are connected, that he would be fighting some metahumans. So that's where that seems to be going. But for the rest of the season, it was focused on I've forgotten their names now. Basically focused on Ra's al Ghul, which they showed Ra's al Ghul for the first time, which I thought the guy did a good job at it. It's a type of character where, depending on the setting that it's in, he can be a lighter character or a darker character. It can be either one. How am I supposed to reach that poster? I can't reach it. How? Okay, how am I supposed to reach it? Can I climb the vines? Okay. I guess I'm not getting that poster. Yeah, so that was basically that was basically the idea of, okay, this is where they're going. We know this is what they're planning on doing. They're going into the going with Ra's al Ghul and all that sort of stuff. That's the idea. So from there, Ra's al Ghul also obviously wants to find out who Sarah's killer is, because Sarah's part of his group. I can't believe I've forgotten the name. I'll remember it though eventually. But yeah, basically Sarah's part of his that's it, League of Assassins. Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, Sarah's part of the League of Oh, bugger. Bloody hawk. Yeah, Sarah's part of his league, so he wants to know who the killer is so that he can punish them by killing them back. Which, Ra's al Ghul, that's what he does. So yeah, so basically it gets to the point where Ollie keeps looking and ends up finding out who the killer is. And this is the part which is a bit more of the conflict part of it. the killer ends up actually being Thea. The reason why it ends up being Thea is because at this point she's with Malcolm Merlyn learning how to fight and all that sort of stuff and become a part of the League of Assassins. So at this point she's... I have to swing over. So that's basically that point, is that she is training to be part of the League of Assassins. Malcolm Merlyn is teaching her how to be part of the League of Assassins. Did I kill it? Yes. I hate eagles in this game. Yeah, she basically wants to be trained to learn how to fight so she's not useless and blah, 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 blah. So she's training with Malcolm Merlyn to be part of the League of Assassins, but Malcolm Merlyn wants Sarah dead because he wants to punish Ollie. So what he decides to do is to use a brainwashing, or a not a brainwashing, like a mind control type thing, to get her to do what he wants her to do, but she doesn't have any memory of what actually happened. She's fully functional in terms of she can shoot, she can fight, she can do all that sort of stuff, but she doesn't actually remember her actions and what she's actually done. So that's basically how Sarah dies. But because Ra's al Ghul wants to kill whoever killed Sarah, obviously Ollie doesn't want to turn in his sister Thea because that means she's going to die. And he doesn't want her to die because, well, they're brother and sister and he loves her and doesn't want her to die and all that sort of thing. So he ends up coming to Ra's al Ghul saying that he killed Sarah even though he didn't. Everybody else that's there, part of the group, kind of is like, okay, we know he didn't kill Sarah because he loved her and all that sort of thing. So he has to be protecting somebody. But because he admitted to it, Ra's al Ghul still wants to fight him. What was that? Okay. So instead of just dying and having a trial and being sentenced to death, he requests a trial by combat with Ra's al Ghul. So he has a trial by combat with Ra's al Ghul, and what ends up happening is at the end of the episode, he gets stabbed. Now, most people would be like, oh, he's the main character, he can't die. Like I said, he is the main character, probably can't die, but he is dead. There's no way he's coming back from that. He got stabbed, he got slashed on his left side, and he got stabbed through the heart. To even prove the point even more, they showed flashbacks sort of like his life flashing before his eyes type of thing. So it was pretty heavily implied that he died. Not only that, he then got pushed off the cliff onto the ground, off the cliff, and he fell off the cliff and tumbled down. So whether or not you think that he's dead or not, most likely he is dead. And that's pretty much the end of the season. That's what happened. He died. He got stabbed, thrown off the cliff. He's pretty much dead. 99% sure that he's dead. It'd be hard for them to explain how he's not dead. So yeah, that's basically where it finished. Now, what I'm going to talk about now is where I think they're going to be going in the future. Because he's dead, a lot of people will be like, oh, there's not going to be much of a future. They're going to try and cross it over to a different character, and that's how the show is going to be. Yes and no. The first few episodes, I have a feeling they are going to be focusing on other characters, because that's what makes sense. Because you're not going to... Ooh, I want to find that. That's what makes sense. It makes sense that they're going to focus on other characters for the first few episodes. Most likely, I'm hoping they're going to focus on Roy as part of the Arrow gang, because they do need to build his character up a bit more, because he's Arsenal. He's called Arsenal, even though he's Red Arrow. Whether or not you agree with how they've been named, that's how they've been named, and there's, that's just what they're named for at the moment. So it's going to be. I'm hoping that's what they're going to focus on, but I have a feeling they're going to focus on Palmer and his Atom suit, because as well that's destroyed that. Most likely they're going to be focusing on him and his suit, because I think when Arrow comes back, that's who he's going to be kind of teaming up with, whether or not it's going to be through Arrow or through Flash. He's going to have some sort of part in it. He is a good guy, so he is a good guy, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're actually going to keep him as a good guy. But they could put him as a bad guy to start off with, and then Arrow kind of goes, oh, you need to see... Or he could be a good guy with more extreme measures. So they're more like, oh, hey, you got to stop killing the bad people, that sort of stuff. That's what it seems like they might do it that way, because that would work as well. Am I going the right way? Yes, I'm going the right way. That's where it seems like they could go with him, and he could be the villain for the rest of the season. But going back to what's going to happen to the main character, yes, he's dead. There's nothing we can do about that. Well, we can, which I'll explain. But he's dead. He's not going to heal and be back, in a few episodes and blah, blah, blah. He's dead. He's dead. But for people who have actually read the comic books, there's this thing called the Lazarus Pit. Now, the Lazarus Pit is used by Ra's al Ghul. And what actually happens is, reason why Ra's al Ghul says, he hasn't had a fight in like 80 years or whatever, but he looks like he's 30, is because he has this thing called the Lazarus Pit. As he gets older, or he dies, or gets injured, or... Ooh. Oh, they're going to come at me. Once he dies, gets injured... Oh, bugger. Or stuff like that. He just goes for a swim in the Lazarus Pit. The Lazarus Pit basically recovers all of his injuries, brings him back to life, and rejuvenates him back to basically what he looks like now. That's what happens. So, my loot bag's almost full. So that's what the Lazarus Pit is. Now, some people, you won't actually know what the Lazarus Pit is, because they haven't actually mentioned it at all. That's where this is kind of more of a speculation, because they haven't mentioned him at all, or the Lazarus Pit at all. It's kind of like they could go that way, but they could not go that way as well. There's equal possibility that they don't do the Lazarus Pit at all. So that's where this kind of becomes a little bit more tricky. So that's why I'm still a little hesitant in terms of with all of this, because it could be the Lazarus Pit, it could not. It could turn out that he comes back to life in a different way. But if this is the only way that really makes sense, any other way, it would be harder for them to make sense of it. Now, how I feel that the Lazarus Pit does work and would work this way is because they have referenced it once. The only time they referenced it was when Ra's al Ghul stepped out of that pool that he was in. The first time you saw Ra's al Ghul, he stepped out of a pool. Some people will be like, yeah, but that's not really Ra's al Ghul, using the Lazarus Pit. Maybe he's just in a pool, which is true. It could just be a pool. There wasn't really anything special about it. Ooh, That was a bad idea. Holy crap. Let's get away from this rhino as quickly as possible. Okay, let's change to Molotovs. Sorry, this is a bit of a turn off from it. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh, that's right, Ra's al Ghul. So that's the only reference that they've had to the Lazarus Pit, is the fact that Ra's al Ghul stepped out of what appeared to be a special kind of pool / body of water that he was in. So that's where I think they're going to probably go with Arrow. They're going to probably go with more of a Lazarus Pit type thing, where Ra's al Ghul's going to bring Arrow to the pit, or not to the pit. He's either going to bring him to the pit, or someone else is going to bring him to the pit. Someone's probably going to bring him to the pit, and he's going to end up getting healed and become all better and all that sort of thing. Which is a good thing, because he needs to come back to life. He can't be dead as the main character. Let's go there. He can't be dead as the main character. He has to come back to life at some point. So, and that's the point that makes more sense. Now, also, the thing with the Lazarus Pit is when they come back to life, they know that they've been dead. So, with that, it probably could also mean that he's going to come back to life, know that he's been dead, but then change how he sees things and become a bit more oh no, I'm losing the hostage. How are these not dying? Grenade! Alright, I need to change to this weapon. Dying. Yeah, so that's where I think Arrow is going. Sorry for that little divergent bit there. But yeah, that's where it seems like Arrow is going. So hopefully my predictions are correct. The first few episodes, and as a quick recap, first few episodes, they're going to focus on Roy and maybe Deagle and the Suicide Squad. Possibly. Very much doubt it, because they haven't really mentioned it at all at this point. Well, they have mentioned it. They've had the episode about it, which had a Harley Quinn recap on it, but a Harley Quinn cameo. But yeah, so that's what it seems like it's going. Hopefully they focus on Roy, and maybe he will put on the green hood. Maybe that's how we'll start. But yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen. Quick recap. Lazarus Pit. He's going to become more of a lighter side of himself, which is more true to the comic book Green Arrow. And then from there, he's, the villain is probably going to be Ray Palmer, who's the Atom, because he's going to be a bit more how Arrow used to be, but Arrow is different now, and Arrow is going to be more lighthearted, like the Flash and that sort of thing. So that's pretty much my quick recap for this season of the Arrow. Like I said, hopefully this is going to come out before the new episodes start. If not, you'll probably listen to this and have a understand that it might be true, it might be false by the time you listen to it. But that's pretty much my prediction. Hopefully you guys watched the season premiere when it the mid-season premiere. I don't know what it's called, because it's mid-season, so it is a premiere, but it's not a season premiere. It's a mid-season premiere. So I don't know. Anyway, hopefully you guys watch it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the new season of Arrow. It's going to be an interesting way how they end it. Kill this tiger. Uh-oh. I'm gonna die. Oh, got him. Yeah, so hopefully you guys will watch the mid-season premiere. I think it starts on the 27th of... No, the 22nd of January, I think. I may be wrong about that, but yeah, just check up on it. It's currently the start of January, so... But yeah, definitely go... Make sure you watch it. Make sure you get up to date. You guys should be on holidays now, so you should be able to get up to date fairly quickly. So yeah, make sure you guys get up to date. It's a good show. Watch it and get ready for the mid-season premiere. All right, I'll see you guys till next time.